up?
Hi.
Tyler, Sam, Keith. We're here to review Star Wars The Last Jedi. Everybody's seen Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's the 8th episode.
You can finally go on IGN.
Are we doing spoilers in this video?
Absolutely!
Towards the end. Like, we'll do spoiler-free section, then we'll do spoilers.
Okay.
I think it's actually really hard to critique this movie without getting into spoilers.
I mean, the first part doesn't have to be terribly fun.
No. But yeah, this is the follow-up to The Force Awakens from 2015. Continuing the Skywalker saga of Star Wars. Force Awakens was pretty damn solid. It was a safe movie, but a really solid one. And so yeah, I mean, I was super stoked for this. For what y'all think?
I enjoyed it. I think I'll have to sit on it more, but I mean, I think I might like it more than The Force Awakens. I like that in some ways that it's not a typical Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. That's my thing with it. There's and you know, it's not an Empire clone. There are elements from like everywhere with whatnot, but it's done.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But it's
clone.
It's clone. But it's but I like the places it goes. I think it's like I said, I like it. I'm gonna hold reservations for whether or not it's my favorite Star Wars movie or where it officially sits. But as of right now, I like it more than The Force Awakens. I think.
I kind of feel the same way. I want to see it again. I mean, there are things I just want to watch again and kind of go in. I don't know. Like, I don't want to say that it didn't have any kind of impact. You know, I saw it. I'm going to give my opinion on it. But I do want to see it again just to, like, re-experience some things. And, like, it's not like I wasn't paying attention in certain areas, but just to be, like, just kind of see it again and see if I have any kind of other opinion on it. Like, sometimes it takes, like, a second time before it's like, okay, the more I see this, the more I think about it, maybe it's not that dumb, or maybe it is, I don't get this part, it's not as cool as I thought it was. But this movie was really all over the place to me. It was really one thing that I'm not going to say I didn't like about The Force Awakens, but one thing that was just like it jumped around a lot. Like just like hard cuts to the next thing, hard cuts, like especially when things were really kind of, you know, things were going, it was, you know, a lot of rising action was happening, because I understand how story works. Not the climax yet. Rising action, baby. It was a lot of cutting around, and okay, now we're going to go here, and then we're going to go back to this, and it's like they'll go back to something, and like almost like there were no developments, and like why did you cut back to that? So I don't know. Some things I just felt like they were good, but they went nowhere, which I'm not mad about. It's just I don't know. It feels like in some areas of the movie they could have had something that related to the story more. It was more character development. Like Finn and the new character Rose kind of had a, you know, character development. The new character Rose that I'm sure is going to be big in the next movie. She and Finn kind of had their separate storyline, and everyone kind of had their own storyline. It was very separate. No one really came together, which was, I don't know, maybe that'll happen in the last movie, but there's a lot of separate storylines and things happening there, and it's all over there. And I felt like there was, like, the whole story was connected, but the characters weren't as connected, which I wish it was, you know, a little more, everyone came together, but that might be the last movie, you know, the finale and everything, but, yeah, I felt like, in a lot of ways, there were improvements over the last movie. In a lot of ways. It took more risk, and with more risk, there's more reward, but there's also things that just don't work sometimes. And I respect that. I'm not going to be like, oh, like,
yeah,
you know, you gotta do something, you know.
You can't, you know, just play it safe all the time. Because I feel like that was the major sentiment with this movie. A lot of people thought it was just going to be another safe movie. Which maybe why, in some ways, I feel like, up until, like, the last couple weeks, I feel like, especially because the marketing campaign racked up, like, the last 3-4 weeks. So the movie was a little bit more of a sleeper. I feel like The Force Awakens, so people were like, oh, it's like it's coming up, whereas this one was kind of like, oh yeah, Star Wars comes out tomorrow. Oh shit. So.
Yeah, I like the movie. I don't think it gets everything right, and there were times where, you know, I think the overall pacing of this movie is pretty solid, but there were times where I felt it was just, it really dipped. And I found myself just kind of, my mind wandering off to other things a little bit. Where I felt like with The Force Awakens, I don't know, I was just so sucked into it the whole time. But it was very few when that happened. But I think the back, like, half of this movie, or that last third of it, is just fucking gripping. And because, yes, there are a lot of different plot lines going on all over the place, but then some of them start to come together, or they at least get to, like, the climax of that storyline, or some really intense moments. And it just felt like it was like one crazy thing after another that I really enjoyed. And there's just some phenomenal, you know, music and acting in this. It's just,
I was gonna say, I think the acting
really well done.
I think the acting in some ways is
Except for Mark Hamill. I did not think he was a good actor at all.
No.
He did not.
He wasn't the best.
No, he was not very good.
He wasn't the best, but then again, original trilogy fans can hate me all they want. I didn't even think he was really that amazing in those movies.
He's not,
you know?
he's not a great, he's not a very, what's the word I'm looking for, energetic actor.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, comes across a little bit. One other thing with the pacing, because a couple of you guys like mentioned the pacing, I like how there's not, like, acts in this movie. I felt like there was just kind of a constant flow of events in a lot of ways. It's not like here, the first third of this movie, this happens, and the next third, this happens, and this third, this happens. But you can kind of argue is very much how The Force Awakens works. You know, and then this one was just kind of like, yeah, the plot's just going to continue on, and maybe the bouncing around helps with that because everything kind of got, not a whole lot happens over the course of this movie, but some of it's like really, I think some of like gripping, again, some very good character moment stuff where it's like, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, they didn't travel far. Mm-hmm. Even like just with like the events of things that happen. Which
I mean, it really does pick up pretty much where The Force Awakens left off, and yeah, it tells a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you know, leaving this movie, I was thinking like, man, you know, they could probably keep these main movies going forever, but it does kind of feel like they are getting to a finish line, sort of thing, where somebody's going to win. You know, whether it's the First Order or the Resistance. You know,
I mean,
it does feel like something is getting there because also, you know, with some other things we'll get into later with some characters. You know?
Yeah.
But there's some fucking moments though where I just had that like Star Wars feeling of like, fuck yeah, this just, yeah, it's just awesome. And like Star Wars is one of the only like franchises out there that can like, I literally felt like my heart beating and everything of like, this is just really, really well done, really good. Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to just get into spoilers. So
sure. Do we want to hold off on spoilers until the end of spoilers? Or do you want to maybe do something like that now? I mean, because talking about stuff we can probably. In case somebody doesn't want to.
I'll give it 9 out of 10. That's my score.
I was gonna say I was gonna probably give it like 8.5, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, to me it's an 8.5 out of 10. I think it is a solid movie. It's a different Star Wars film, which I liked. Especially like it doesn't end with some ridiculous like let's fly into the base and blow up the reactor because we somehow know where it's at.
Or some,
it doesn't do that.
Or even like a big like fight. Doesn't really end with like some. Every movie ends with like some huge fight. That's
like it ends differently, and I like that for sure. But yeah, 8.5.
I'm definitely on board, especially after watching this movie with a Rian Johnson fronted trilogy. Because I mean, in a lot of ways, this isn't like a main saga Star Wars movie. So it's like oh yeah, he could do it. I mean, the world building works. Even like the little things, are just
especially if they're letting him just do something completely new.
Oh yeah,
It very exciting because it's something that not only do you have a director that's solid and is willing to do different stuff, even within the playground that he's given, you know, but then you give him a whole new universe.
Yeah.
It could be very exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does there. But yeah, we're going to talk spoilers right now, so if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to know about anything, leave and go back.
Where do we,
Where guys want to start? There's a lot of things to talk about.
Where do we
I think
fucking
it's
start?
phenomenal.
Well, let's start with some of the parts that people don't like.
I'll tell you 3 parts that I don't
hit
like.
me. You haven't said too much, so I'm curious.
I really don't like that they even bothered to put Captain Phasma in this movie. If you're not going to use
Fell a
her,
little out of
don't
nowhere.
fucking... If she's an awesome character, she has a lot of potential, don't fucking waste that character. Quit bringing her back, and then
I mean, she
just flies off like, what the fuck? What's the point of having her?
Yeah,
I guess
she was in, and then now she's gone.
I don't get it. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And that was a cool little battle they had going on, and it just ended. It was just like, that pissed me off so much, and that kind of left me sour toward the end of the movie. The second thing was that Finn should have died. He was gonna like, I know the whole theme of this movie was like, don't be a hero. Like, Poe, you know, don't be a hero. Finn, don't be a hero. Yada yada. But like, you know, I felt like he was gonna do it. You know, and that was like his moment, and that would have been cool. Yeah. That would have been something shocking. It would have felt right that like Finn sacrificed himself. But then it's just like, no, we're not gonna do that at the last minute. And then the third thing that bothered me was just how Snoke was like killed off.
I definitely agree with the first one. The first one, Phasma is 100%. I get that. With Finn and whatnot, I get why they didn't kill him off in some ways, because I mean he's one of the main characters. I get it's one of those things where it's like, yes, I agree that probably would have been cooler if he died, but it doesn't necessarily like aggravate me. Like, when he's a cool character, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then the moment works. They play it off so well that like, oh my god, we're gonna lose
I think
him.
it works, and I think what it led to is something that was way more exciting to me personally, between Kylo and
yeah, like how it was like that.
It kind of led to that.
Yeah, I mean, that still could have probably happened.
And then with Snoke.
But the thing with Finn though is that at least them introducing Rose is like, they had a lot of characters in this movie. They had a lot of characters, and there was a lot of jumping around to different characters. Like, part of me thinking there should be some more connectivity and people coming together is like, in the last movie there was, you know, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Rey, and Finn were all kind of a group, at least for a certain point. It felt like they were feeding off each other a lot. And there's, you know, I liked that. And then when they met new characters, I liked that. With this movie, it just felt like there were so many plot lines going around. Like, Finn didn't see Rey until like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And Poe didn't see Rey until the end of the movie.
Never met her.
No one saw anyone until like the end of the movie. And I was just like, I get it, everyone's going off and facing their own challenges, but if that's going to be the next movie, and hopefully they don't introduce any more characters, they could stand to maybe lose a character.
I could see like them being a little bit more tight knit, because at least naturally the story, especially at least with Rey being away from everything, makes sense. And that was maybe one thing that, it's not a terrible gripe of mine, but like the whole thing with Finn and Rose going to the casino, like that exists so that he has something to do.
Really, yeah.
Like, because if he was on the ship, he would just be there.
Yeah.
And so it's like. So it's like, I can't fault that, because it's like, and that was kind of a cool moment. You get to see a different like evil of the galaxy, which was cool. But like, it was kind of like, okay, it didn't have to happen.
That was one of the moments where I felt the movie just dipped a little bit to me. It's with that stuff. It was like cool to see something totally different for Star Wars and in that universe, but it just felt like the movie was building a lot of momentum, and then it just kind of halted a little bit. To me, right there.
And at least kind of going back to your points with like Snoke, I think in a lot of ways he was more, not so much his own story, more part of Kylo Ren's story of having a history of father figures whom he feels failed him. I mean, that's the whole thing with Han Solo. They kind of go into that with him with Luke in this one. Now, he's being openly manipulated by Snoke, and then he's like, all right.
Yeah.
And he kind of, in some ways, steps up, but not. Like, he's still Kylo Ren.
Yeah, it was weird, and that was kind of... I didn't expect him to suddenly be good, which was just what was so weird about that whole thing. That, he kind of comes to his senses, saves Rey, or kills Snoke, saves Rey, they fight off everyone, and it's almost like, what? Like, I get it, he's kind of battling the light and dark side, but, like, the whole point of that scene was, like, a lot of stuff just happened, and then it kind of felt like it happened for nothing. Like, all of that went down, and, like, Snoke died, and I get the whole, that kind of led into the rest of the movie being able to happen, that people got away, and things were able, but then it almost just felt like, I don't know, like, what did all that happen for?
I would say there's one bit of context to take in with this, which is something that happens a lot in any form of media. This movie does suffer a little bit from it. It does suffer from being the second movie in the trilogy a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. I think they do it in which there's not too many moments like that, but you can tell that there are plot lines that this is going to get resolved later.
They didn't 100% solve everything.
But like that's the thing with the whole thing with, and then Kylo was like, he's not a good guy actually. He was just.
I just felt like Snoke could have played into the third movie somehow.
Yeah, I think
I thought it was going to be a bit more of a thing.
I agree that I think there is some wasted potential with Snoke because I thought he was cool this first time we actually saw him, and now he's just kind of gone. But I wonder if if Kylo Ren legitimately thought he could convince Rey to come with him because he said let's get rid of the Jedi, the Sith, everything, and just start over, and you and I can do it, sort of thing. Which he didn't want to do that,
and And the one thing too is with Snoke being gone, even though I think it makes this movie better in general because it adds more dynamic to Kylo Ren and whatnot, which isn't him and Rey's relationship throughout the movie.
He's the only villain left.
That's what I mean. So it's there's no surprise on what's gonna happen. Like he's gonna have to. Whereas if Snoke was alive, there's then again everybody would complain that it's very Return of the Jedi. But there's that thing of could he become good? But now it's you're the villain.
He has to die though.
So, but that's
Kylo has to die. He's the bad guy.
Now he does. Unless they there's some
is he the supreme leader now?
He is the supreme leader.
So I wonder if it's just that in the next movie it's just going to play into him being even more evil.
Like an Anakin kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know, but he also makes which is one thing I like about his characters, he makes very rash decisions that he doesn't think about much. Like when Luke showed up, he's just fire, and he's more, and Darren Hutch was alright, just stop, or whatever, and he did, that's a decision he didn't really think about.
And then, in his own, almost ego, he's don't move until I say so, when they could have marched right on in, and then, the resistance would have been done.
And
exactly. Which makes him, he's a flawed villain, which makes him actually interesting.
Yeah, which I like it. I think Adam Driver in this role is just fucking phenomenal. I thought he was great in the first movie. I think he'd be better in this one.
I like the dynamic, like I kind of said. I like the dynamic between Kylo Ren and Rey. I think they made a very a non-deep relationship because they have two scenes together, really in The Force Awakens, and kind of really fleshed out those two characters. And I really like what they did there. Mm-hmm. That's some cool stuff.
And at first I thought it was kind of weird how they were communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Then I guess it Force, it makes sense.
It resolves itself with especially when Snoke is hey, I did this.
Yeah.
It makes him oh, okay, he's manipulating things. So he knows that they're still good in Kylo Ren. Which maybe that's the thing. Maybe he is still good. It's just, again, this sort of I need to prove myself mentality to again, some kind of father figure.
Kind of with Snoke being gone, I feel like he's going to kind of be unbalanced, I guess, now. Yeah. Things are going to go, more towards the dark side. There's going to be no control, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think one of my favorite moments in this movie, though, is that whole battle on, I guess it's Crazy Planet. That was just fucking amazing to me. Of the Resistance just fucking flying out there, and there's you know, a bunch of fucking resistance out there. Like, that was just a really fucking intense thing. But it was just a really, really intense and well done moment, I thought. And it was fucking beautiful, too. I think they like pan out and you see all of them coming, like, fucking racing towards each other, and the music's picking up, like, their resistance theme and everything. I'm like, fuck yes, this is my favorite.
I really like that moment. I do think maybe my favorite, like, moment like that might be the fight, and if you want to call it the throne room. I do really like that
really
sequence,
well done.
Like, of them fighting the Red
They didn't use the
Guard.
Force at all.
No. Didn't have to. It's fine. Well, no, they threw him a lightsaber and you
Yeah, but the first fucking thing that Kylo Ren really did in The Force Awakens was like stop a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not like a bullet, but like a laser. What happened?
That's
all
the thing with these two movies, though. We haven't seen much of Force action using or whatever, and I know there's not very many Jedis left. Yeah. There's one, maybe?
Technically, now.
Is Rey a Jedi, I guess?
She's the only person who could be.
I guess.
So Luke said before he died, it's not the end of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Which he said he's not the last Jedi, which kind of fucks up the movie.
Yeah.
Because the movie's called The Last Jedi, but he said he's not the last Jedi.
But I guess he is the
so
last. Rey is.
The movie should be called Not the Last Jedi.
And I thought that
last two Jedi. There's two of them there.
You know, Mark Hamill's
Could
acting
be more elsewhere. Big universe.
You know, is a little all over the place. But that whole thing with Kylo Ren, and then afterwards when they pull back to him and he's back on his island or whatever, like, it's like, wow.
I like the two big explanations, which were two big things with The Force Awakens, which was, you know, what happened between Luke and Kylo Ren. I like how they ended up telling the story 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, so you see Luke's story, and then you see, you know, Kylo Ren's version of events, and it turns out his version of events is correct in a way, but Luke wasn't lying, and it's like,
right.
And I'm like,
yeah.
And it also makes Luke more human, because again, they keep portraying him as like a legend. That's like the whole thing. He's a legend. He's not like a hero anymore. But like, you know, now it's like you see like, oh, he almost for perceivably very little reason murdered a teenage boy, just because. And it's like, oh.
But at the same time, everything that's happening now in this is because of him, in a way. Which it makes him. Yeah, it makes him more human of like why he is now away hiding, because all these he created that, and he started all of this shit over again, sort of thing.
Why did he burn that? Why did he want to burn down that tree?
Because it's just to get rid of the Jedi. Jedi done, and then Yoda shows up and force magic from the dead.
Yeah, Yoda.
Yeah, I mean,
in this movie,
it's an interesting thing. It's a nice callback.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. And I mean, it's a puppet Yoda, which is cool, and. In some ways that makes sense. I mean, first off, they're not going to get Alec Guinness. I mean, he's dead. So they can't get him to do Obi-Wan, so of course bring back Yoda. But I like that Yoda, you know, in some ways Luke's teacher is the dude who comes back and he like literally hits him upside the head and tells him, you're being stupid.
You know Luke Skywalker's going to come back as a ghost in the next movie.
Oh, definitely.
Probably. What if they get Hayden Christensen to come back as Anakin / Darth Vader?
No.
But that's another thing that I like about this movie is Rey's training wasn't like Luke's. You know, it wasn't like a copy or whatever. It was like
it's also because like Luke's like trying to teach her something different. It's like, look, you want the Jedi to be back? I'm going to tell you why that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. So another big thing about this movie is Rey's parentage, and parenthood, and everything, and she's not related to really any major character. She is
at least that's what Kylo Ren said to her.
Right.
I feel like they built that up. It could be a lie, but I almost feel like this
they could be related. Who knows?
Yeah,
they're that powerful in the Force.
In a way, I kind of like it.
I like that she's a nobody. Because first off, it's like, again, you kind of alluded to on the ride back over here, Tyler, that all of that was speculation. They never gave any inclinations on who Rey's parents were, like any kind of thing. Like, could she be an Obi? Could she be a Kenobi? Is she a clone? An Obi?
Yeah.
You know, is she, you know, related to somebody? But yeah, her parents are just nobody, and that kind of almost fits with her story because she wants to find her place. And it turns out, I mean, in some ways, she has no place. in all of this because you know, and it's and it's God. There's, which I mean, it kind of is a little bit. It sucks a little bit that some of like the cooler theories out there, I guess, debunked permanently because there were a couple of cool theories, but they're just done there. But it works. I like it.
So, how did Leia die?
That's what I was just going to bring up. That is the one moment in this movie that I genuinely did not like, and I was.
It's another one of those things where it's like looking at it from like, because I don't know as much as from the expanded universe to say Luke, but like I know that like, okay, sure, like I'm open to like, sure, I can buy that, but it's like you just kind of, it was just a moment, but they didn't do anything like that. Like she wasn't like, oh yeah,
It's always been that she's like, oh, she's force sensitive, but she never like comes back from the dead almost.
Yeah,
right. It's just like. Her ship gets fired on, it blows up, she's floating out in space, freezing or whatever. Then she's just like, oh, she comes back and it's like, what the fucking shit just happened? And they explain none of it really.
Yeah.
It just like happened.
Dude,
and it's like, whatever, it's like, yeah, like you said, we know through connections and everything that Leia could potentially do that. Maybe. But it's just, it was so random and unexplained, and it just really took me out of
that moment.
What the fuck?
That's kind of like the opposite of what happened with Finn. You know what I mean? Because I look at that moment, and at first I was like, they killed her, she's dead, and it's like, oh, and then they do the Ex Machina thing to bring her back, and that one I'm like, okay, you lost me a little bit, and it's like
even the lead up to that was kind of like, it's kind of like what I didn't like with Supreme Leader Snoke, was that Kylo was going to like shoot the ship, and then he's like, oh, you know, Leia's in there, my mother's in there, and then he doesn't, and then other people shoot it and blow it up anyway, and they kill her, but then she's not dead. Like, I don't get that whole sequence, like, why, like, he was going to kill her, but he didn't. So it's like, okay, maybe, you know, he's not all the way on the dark side, but then someone else kills her, but then, why did all that happen? Like, why do you have to kill her?
I think
why do you have to, like, not want to kill her so that someone else kills her so that she's dead, but then she's not actually dead?
And
like,
the fact that she comes
it's like
back...
a long way around, it seems.
Exactly, and by the end of the movie, she's fine. She's normal.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's a long way around to doing something, yeah.
It's like, there's other ways they could have shown Kylo Ren not being... That, you know, that his journey to becoming completely part of the dark side didn't happen. I mean, I get it, like... That could have been a cool... Like if she would have died, and it's like... That would have been a cool moment, because I'm assuming he knows. Because I also feel like if he didn't shoot her, and then those two people did it, they get back to that ship, he's gonna kill them.
Yeah, they didn't even show something like that.
It's just like, you know, so I assume he knows that she's alive. And so, I mean, because they never address that either. It's just, he just kind of flies off, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd really wonder what they're going to do with her in the next movie. Cause
again, my thought is probably what will happen is there'll be like sort of like this movie, and well, every Star Wars movie, they always start off with something happening, something big happening, except for the first one, trade negotiations, but or Episode 1, not the first one, but if there's like
technically it is the first one.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, in the beginning of Episode 9, there's like some kind of skirmish going on, and then maybe she dies in the skirmish. Yeah. Like you just hear she's on the ship, and then the ship blows up, and you never...
That'd be kind of fucked.
I mean, but what else are they going to do?
And the whole time, they were like... It's... When I think about it, it's really kind of fucked up. Like, for a large part of that movie, they were, like, teasing Leia's death in the movie, which was just, like... I don't know, like, if I was thinking it was going to happen, but I think it was more the movie itself was, like... When the ship was just kind of scuttling along, and they were, like, running out of fuel... It's just like at every point they're like, even, you know, at the first battle when they were going to blow up the ship, it just seemed like constantly like, and they were blowing up the little escape ships. Like they just kept teasing, like, oh my gosh, she's going to die, but then she doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like they
had
I mean this in like no rude way with her passing away or anything, but they really put themselves in a corner with her character, because no matter what, whether they kill her off screen, whether they CGI her into Episode 9 or do whatever, people aren't going to like, They completely fucked themselves with
They
this.
had to have had like big plans for her in episode 9.
Yeah, they said that she was a very important part of episode 9.
Yeah.
Then, because they already finished filming 8 when she passed away, so they couldn't go back and fix anything, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Han Solo died in the first one. Luke Skywalker technically dies.
He dies.
In this one, and then I feel like Leia's got to go in the next
She's got to
one.
go.
Yeah.
It's either that or she has to, because it's either that where they CGI her, or probably even more likely, I feel like she's just like, she's still alive, you just never see her. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, Princess Leia's off doing this. She's off doing this, but you never actually.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
Like, I like the movie. I really do. It just feels like a lot of the bigger moments when cool things happen, which is why I want to see it again to see if I feel differently about it. But like every time something big happens, it's almost like it happens in the wrong way, or I just didn't like how it happened.
I could see that.
I was just gonna say the one other moment that just was like wow to me is when the escape pods were going away. They were all getting blown up, and what's her face? I don't even know her name. Had to do something on the main ship, and so she turned the ship around and went into lightspeed and shot through it. And there was a fucking 1,000,006 shots there, and it was dead silence.
Yeah.
In the movie. It
was like an
that
anime.
was like, wow.
Yeah, it was
like, holy shit.
Sword slash.
It was an
And
anime.
the fact that there was no sound there at all, and they were just like letting you take that in for a second, like, wow. And the that moment led up to 3 very distinct storylines kind of reaching ahead in a way too, because there was that with the Resistance going away, there was Kylo and Rey kind of fighting each other over Luke's lightsaber, whatever, and then Finn and Rose about to get killed and everything, and it all came to a head there in a fucking really amazing way.
How's she going to get another lightsaber?
You can make it.
Because she got her face off against Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
That's expensive.
Go get a kyber crystal.
It's expensive, man.
Go get a kyber crystal.
Those are rare.
Maybe.
Resistance don't got that much money to fix it.
Yeah. What's she gonna do? She gonna find Luke's green lightsaber?
She just keeps finding it.
The First Order fucking sucks, though. They do. Because to me, there's just no way that the Resistance should be winning with the forces and in the size that the First Order
I would argue
has.
I would argue
Whatever.
that they're not winning. They're just. It's just
I mean,
that.
they're still losing, and they lost in this movie for sure because their numbers is definitely smaller. But
I mean, they all fit on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
every Resistance member fits on the Falcon.
What they say is that the First Order is taking over everywhere else that we just don't get to see. I guess.
Yeah.
It's just this small little group, I guess, chasing after Resistance.
Well, it's that's what I meant earlier. Not when you think about it, they get on the escape pod. It's them getting chased. And then they end up on another planet. That's all the further that storyline goes. I'm like, it's not a lot, but a lot does happen.
right.
I think another moment which the last moment I'll talk about is
Hey, now that Disney might own Fox, what if that escape pod was just going through space? What if an alien got on board? Huh?
Shit.
Xenomorph.
Xenomorph Star Wars episode 9.
Yeah.
Oh, you imagine a Xenomorph fighting a Jedi?
Oh,
That could be
that
crazy.
was-
I still think the Jedi would win. But, I mean,
Yeah.
just get it.
Well, it depends which version of Alien.
Yeah,
Like the
if it's
original
the
slow one that
Alien-
was just
Yeah.
Yeah,
or one of the crazy fast ones.
in the later movies.
Yeah, get Predator in there.
I do-
Or Bill
I-
Cosby in Star Wars.
I also really, I really like the that moment between Luke and Rey in the rain.
Yeah.
When her and Luke or her and Kylo connect. Ben Solo, and then she's just hunting him down.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just a cool moment. There you go. That's the thing. It's stuff like that. There's stuff like that that just doesn't happen in Star Wars movies. Star Wars is always the Jedi are good, the Sith are evil, and there's and there's never a middle ground, which is so nice to see.
Yep.
So
I agree. I mean, I think it's a good movie. I can see why people would be upset about it, but Star Wars has to take some chances at some point. You know what I mean? They have to shake things up. And I'm interested in seeing how it ends
oh yeah, definitely.
with the 9th one for sure. And I think J.J. Abrams doing it could be pretty good. We'll see, because, as we talked about, before, Episode 7 kind of had to be safe. So it'll be interesting to see what he does when he doesn't have to be as safe.
Yeah.
But he now has everything on him to end everything.
Yeah.
You know, like this
So he
is
can make
supposedly
so he could make
the
a safe
end.
ending.
Yeah.
The last thing that, for me, that I legitimately didn't like. I mean, a lot of the stuff I was like, I don't get it, or it was weird, but I want to see it again and kind of reevaluate it. But one thing I just didn't really care for was the humor in this movie was just really, it felt out of place.
A few times it felt fucking flat on its face.
Yeah, so out of place. Like with those little
Orgs.
fucker things,
yeah.
like
Orgs.
when Rey and Chewie, which is my favorite scene, like in that last battle when they show up with Millennium Falcon and is taking shit out, and there's little things like screaming. I'm just like, who's this for? Like, who's this for right now?
There was like it was funnier earlier when they were on like a little bit when they were on the ship, but it's like or Luke just throwing his lightsaber over his shoulder. I'm like,
yeah.
The one I liked is just because at the time you were like, all right, I don't know how that happened, but when the First Order's firing on Luke, at Luke, thinking it was him, and then he just walks out from the salt or whatever. He's just
that
was kind of funny, but yeah. It felt a little forced because it just felt like something that Mark Hamill nor Luke Skywalker would ever really do.
I felt like a lot of like voice actor Mark Hamill come through.
Yeah.
Like I felt like
it
reminded me of like the character he does as the Joker sometimes.
I did like his exit line on I don't know, it was just a little short thing. I really like when he's just like, see you around, kid. Yeah. And he just vanishes like
That's kind of a Han Solo thing though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that's the point.
Yeah.
He's like, you know.
I also don't think it's a bad thing that Luke Skywalker is either. You know, I mean,
I figured he was.
I think it makes sense. He was not going to survive the 9th movie, even if he survived this one. I felt, and
he died in the best possible way.
I was gonna say, I don't think Kylo Ren killing him is like.
But also the thing with that is that, like I was saying earlier, like that was a really awesome moment. But like it just kind of allowed people to escape, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like when I thought like a cool battle was happening, it actually wasn't him. Like every time I thought something like, all right, this is awesome, then it's like, oh, this is not exactly what I thought it was. Or like the more I think about it, it's like, oh, like he wasn't actually there.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. He went away in a Yoda-like way a little bit, and
because he's the new.
Yeah, exactly. And what he allowed to happen, giving the Resistance still hope, whatever. And also, last thing I'll say, I like the very end scene with the little kid, and he has the Resistance thing or whatever, and he looks up in the sky, and I guess that's the Millennium Falcon up there or whatever.
I assume so.
But, looking up and being like, there's hope. Because hope in Star Wars. They always go together.
I
just thought that was it was cool.
You got that ring from a loot box.
Oh!
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars The Last Jedi. Let us know what you think. See you later.